Okay. All right. So let me share my screen real quick and we'll start the presentation. But I still want to tell you a little bit about my story and kind of what's happened for me. I started 7 months ago, didn't know anything about this, really didn't know anything about it. Somebody told me, hey, we're going to tell you about nodes and blockchain. And I'm like, what is that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. And it was scary. And I know if you're like me, I'm a guy that doesn't like change. Just ask my wife. And I said, man, these guys are having fun. They're doing well. They're doing good things in the world. And I've worked for companies that say, hey, we're going to change the world. And I was selling nutrition or skincare. I'm like, we're not really changing the world. But the deeper that I get into this, the more I understand that these are good people that are really making a difference in the world. So let's get started real quick. Here's a disclaimer. There's always a disclaimer. If you want, take a picture of it, read it real quick. But we're going to talk about some forward-thinking things. We're going to talk about some things that are already happening. So I'm not doing a presentation saying, oh, this might happen, this might happen. A lot of this stuff has already happened. Maybe if it was 7 months ago, I would have said that. But I want to make it clear to anybody that understands crypto and blockchain that we don't sell tokens. We don't do ICOs. We're actually a software development company, and we put real companies on those blockchains. And a quick funny story. I met some people that have been around a very long time, OGs, like OGs. And they said, I was talking to them about building this blockchain and selling nodes and making money and helping people and building the community. And they said some things like, if we pull it off. And I kept saying, why do they keep saying that? They said, well, guys, these are real companies. It was a couple of us. These are real companies. And the real companies have to work. If they don't work, it doesn't work. And we need to build a community around these so that it works. So I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff tonight. And again, if you like what you see, I'm gonna record this so we can get it out to some people. But here's what I recommend: get on as many of these calls as you possibly can, and I'll talk about becoming or getting involved with us. You can get involved with us for free, and you can go watch the trainings that we have. And I'll tell you, I didn't know anything about blockchain, crypto nodes, but I went through the academy, and you'll learn the basics, and then you'll be able to have a pretty decent conversation with anybody about blockchain. Now, 7 months, I'm no expert or anything, but so give me grace when you listen to me. But here's what I want you to learn. I want you to be able to learn how blockchain technology is helping solve some of the biggest problems around the world. Again, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, here we go again, somebody saving the world. But I think when you understand the projects that we're doing right now, you'll understand why that's true. And I hope you understand and you learn how you can participate in these solutions, and also how you can be rewarded for your participation. And again, you can be a novice and participate in this and make a big difference in the world. So here are some of the problems that are affecting all of us. And look, I know that you could probably put up a list of 50 or 60 or 100 different problems, but I mean, climate change, I think about what's happening in Florida, what's happening on the East Coast. It's absolutely devastating. I mean, the environment is crazy right now. Poverty is a major problem. What if you can make a lot of money and go help some people that are living below poverty, and you can help them with stuff? We're going to talk about health and wellness, economy, workforce management, education, food security, and human rights. And I know that there's a lot more. But I want to tell you about some the blockchain technology basics. And I want to kind of give you my thought on all of this after 7 months of being around. I'm not an expert, but I think I like to keep things as simple as possible so the average person can understand it, because that's how I am. That's how I like to see things. But blockchain is decentralized, immutable, secure, and transparent. Didn't really mean a lot to me when I first heard that. But I want you to think about the internet. When you think about it, it's centralized computing, storage, and connectivity. It's controlled by multinational corporations and banks. I don't say that like it's a bad, crazy thing, but that is the world we live in. And if you've ever noticed that, if you ever talk in your phone or you look something up somewhere, it's like it starts popping up ads everywhere. You want to talk about a trip somewhere, you want to talk about a new piece of furniture or whatever it is, it starts showing up, whether it's in Google, whether it's in Amazon, whatever, it shows up. So it's almost like they're controlling us, and they're They're making money off what we're doing. Now, look, I'm a capitalist, fair market capitalist, but it's like sometimes I just want to do my thing. I don't want everybody kind of moving me towards something or advertising certain things. Well, that's where blockchain comes in. Blockchain is decentralized computing, storage, and connectivity. It's operated by thousands of node owners. There's no central controller authority. Here's how I equate that. Let's say that you worked for a company or you were part of a group that there was 100 people in. And let's say there was one person at the top. Let's just say it was me. I started the company, I started the group, I started the Facebook page, whatever it is. Well, I make the rules and I decide who's in, who's out. I decide at the job how many hours a week you work. I decide how much money you make. I decide whether you work there or not. I decide how much vacation you get. I decide everything. I'm in control. You either like it and stay there, you don't like it, stay there, or you leave. Well, what if it was a little bit different? What if maybe I started something, but there was 100 people and you were one of those 100 people and you owned a node. 100 people own one node each. Well, if I wanted to make a decision in that group, that company, whatever, I would have to put it up for charter, for vote. And then every single person in that company or group that had a node had a vote. Think about the difference of what would happen. I've heard so many times we're giving power back to the people. I didn't understand it for a long time, but I want you to really think about that. What if you had a vote in anything that would happen in that group or that community? Think how incredible that would be. Our mission is to provide a decentralized marketplace for people around the world to participate in blockchain product solutions and get rewarded through ownership of nodes and proof of action. That's our mission. So we've got a bunch of partner brands. I think we've got 11 right now, but I want you to read this with me. Blockchain projects working to implement proof of action protocols to solve real world problems. It's just proof of action. When an action happens, then a token or a reward can be rewarded. Each project has their own nodes. They can be purchased and operated to support the blockchain in that specific blockchain to earn digital rewards in that specific blockchain. So you can purchase a node in all these different projects. You can purchase them in all, you can purchase them in one. And as your node is doing its job of verifying transactions and doing proof of actions, you earn these rewards. So there was a company, I think it was 5 years ago now, called Gala Games. Maybe you've never heard of it. But when I asked people about like the game, I think it was called Words with Friends. And I think there was one on Facebook, Farmville. Most people have heard of those games, but didn't realize that that was part of a blockchain. That was called Gala Games. And that was, 5 years ago, 2019. So you could purchase a node in that project, a piece of software. You didn't have to put it on your computer. You could put it in the cloud if you like. You didn't have to have this big server or anything like that, like they did with Bitcoin mining. But you would receive daily distributions. And in 2019, the Gala token, those rewards, had zero exchange value. It's kind of funny because people are like, get involved with this and purchase a node. Well, what are the tokens worth that I get? Well, they're not worth anything. But if we get millions of people playing these games and we get on the exchanges and people buy and sell the tokens, it'll be worth more. So it almost is hope of gain. And it's almost, I got to look at the people. What are they doing? What are the projects? Do I believe in it? Do I think it's going to work? I mean, that's kind of how it works. Well, I heard that for the first year, some of those nodes weren't even working online. So they weren't even doing their job of getting proof of action. They weren't verifying transactions. But I think over the next year, the tokens went from zero, I think it was, to 84 cents. People made tens of millions and billions of dollars off of those nodes because of those nodes. And they're still producing tokens to this day. So we've got an academy. If you don't, I want to pull this up. I added this today. If you don't know much about blockchain or crypto or Bitcoin or any of that stuff, we teach you all this stuff. And you earn tokens for learning it. I think this is why they give you rewards for it, because if you're going to learn this, you're probably going to tell people about it. So if you're one of those people that were like me that knew nothing about this stuff, You can go through this academy and you can learn a boatload of stuff. You can learn a whole bunch of stuff. So what's a blockchain node? This is the easiest way for me to explain it. A blockchain node is kind of like a cell phone tower. Maybe you're old enough to remember this, maybe you weren't. But we've got cell phone towers all over the country, all over the world. They're everywhere. But in the beginning, 30, I don't know, maybe it was 40 years ago. I don't know. They didn't have a lot of these cell towers. I don't know if you remember that commercial where he said, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?" It sounded funny, but it was the point that he was making was there weren't enough cell towers, but that company supposedly had a lot of cell towers. That's why they were saying it. Well, they had to put these cell phone towers up to connect the cell phones so that the cell phones worked. And maybe you remember going into a certain area where you're like, "Hey, I'm going to lose you real quick, but I'll call you back when I get reception." Well, what did they do? They had to put these cell phone towers. They didn't buy up the whole United States. Well, they went to people with acreage, whether it was a farmer or somebody that had some acreage or whatever, hopefully on a high ground. And they said, "Hey, let us put this cell tower here and we'll pay you every month." Or maybe they paid them a bulk fee or something. People made thousands of dollars a month for putting these cell phone towers on their land so that the phones could connect. So they used their land and they paid them for using their land. That's kind of what we do with a node. We use your quote unquote computer power, or if you put it online, we're using that computer power, but you've purchased that node. And now that node earns rewards for doing what it's supposed to be doing and verifying transactions. So basically, you operate a node, install it. It's software. You don't have to have a computer. You don't have to have a dedicated computer or hardware for that. And then as it's doing its job every single day, you're earning those rewards every single day. So we're basically implementing proof of action. So that bottom paragraph, in a proof of action mechanism, tokens could be awarded based on actions that adhere to a predefined criteria in the ecosystem. These actions can be anything from performing specific tasks to achieving community goals. So I want to talk about a couple of our projects. I think I've got 4 of our projects here. This is Paul Michael, become a good friend of mine. He's been an entrepreneur for 25 years. He's built companies into the billions. He's done this a few times. And I will tell you, he had a company that did food delivery. That's what it was. I kind of had a brain mess up. He had a food delivery company they worked with somebody on, and in 18 months, they did over $1 billion. He said, "Look, I've got 3 touch points. I've got a driver, I've got a restaurant, and I've got a customer. What if that driver or the restaurant didn't put the salad in the bag? I had to have the driver go back to the restaurant, take it to the customer, give him a discount." He says, "One day I was taking a ride share and I asked the driver how much he was making, and he was taking Uber. And he was paying like $250. I think the driver was making like less than $100. And he thought that was a disservice. And so he thought, wouldn't this be good on the blockchain where we have node owners run the blockchain, run the project, verify transactions? And we don't have tens of thousands of employees, and we could pay the drivers 30 to 40% more and charge the customer less, and everybody can earn rewards for doing so." Well, I said, what if? Well, we do have that. It's called Revo Rideshare. We're actually, I don't know, we're a handful of months old, and we're in 40 cities. I think they're opening Southern California right now. They've got talks in going to Australia as well. But this is a project that you could purchase a node in, and you can help run the project. You don't have to do anything. You purchase the node, you put it online. It helps verify transactions, and you earn rewards in that project. Here's another one, good friend of mine, Darren Kidd. I've known him probably 26 years, I think. Wow, dating myself. Known him since I was a couple years old. No, I'm just kidding. He's been an incredible entrepreneur. Look, we're on Zoom right now. And he thought, what? Zoom, there's 300 million users a day. I've used Zoom for 10 years. I've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people purchase Zoom, use it every single day. Never got a thank you, never got a discount, never got anything. Well, Darren thought this would be great for the blockchain because now Zoom is taking your information. They can use it for whatever they want. They charge you so much. They have so many bells and whistles on their thing, okay? Well, what if, again, I'm saying what if, we already have this in place. We had a meeting software that was better than Zoom. How is it better? More bells and whistles. What if it was cheaper than Zoom? And what if you got rewarded for using it? How would that sound? I go, forget our business model, forget blockchain, whatever. If it's better, cheaper, and I earn rewards, I'm all in because I never got anything from Zoom. Well, we've got this up and running. It's in beta right now. Could be a couple months, but you can purchase a node in R-Link. We call it R-Link, but it's on the Rally blockchain, and you can participate in that. Here's another one, Grow. I met Will Teller the second month I was involved with this blockchain. Grow is farming. It's beef, it's fruits, it's vegetables, it's honey, it's apple cider. Well, I went down to Puerto Rico and I met Will. And I actually got a chance to go to the farm and I fell in love with the farm. I'm like, this is incredible. And I bought a node and I came home and literally, I'm just being transparent. I go, what the heck did I just do? And I thought, well, it's third generation farmers, largest regenerative farm in the country. I'll just wait. Maybe the tokens will become more valuable and I'll cash them out. Well, how does it all work? Well, they have something called farm tracing. It's not just, you're not just buying meat, but you get your meat from their farm and you get this little QR code and you click it and it tells you when that cow was born, how much food it ate, no hormones, when it was processed, how it got to your door. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. Well, last month, this was 6 months ago, last month they said, we're going to ship nationally, and I'm in Dallas. I think their farm is way on the West Coast, whether it's Washington or Oregon, I can't remember. But I purchased $350 worth of beef, filet mignon, cowboy ribeye, New York strip, I forget something, a couple other things. But I bought $350 worth of beef with my tokens that my node produces every day. I think it's like 3,000 tokens a day. And I think I spent 28,000 tokens. So literally like 4 days, 4 days worth of my node running online, I bought $350 worth of beef. And he says, Danny, as long as we keep growing, you'll never have to pay for meat again. That's the day that it made it very, very real for me. Very incredible. You can buy a node in that as well. Now, here's a woman that I met in Kauai probably like 4 or 5 months ago. Kathy Roberts, you can look her up. She took an idea and built Discover Card to $54 billion a year. I say, do you think she's smart? Yeah, she's pretty smart. Well, she retired. They brought her into blockchain. And I think she said she didn't know much about blockchain, but she knew there was hundreds of millions, if not a billion people out in the world that couldn't get a bank. And she built Switch. It's an exchange. There's a non-custodial wallet. They've got that debit card right there where you can put crypto on it and you can go use it in, you can get a haircut, you can buy food, you can get your car worked on, whatever you want. But she was also the president and COO of Discover Bank from 2000 to 2006. Again, you can purchase a node in this, help run the project. We've got a legal team that I think is second to none. I'm going to pick on Ken Cuccinelli real quick. He's the ex-attorney general for Virginia, and he was head of Homeland Security for a couple years. People say, if you're on the blockchain, why do you need a legal team? Well, our drivers for Revo aren't on the blockchain. They're real people. So we got to be on the straight and narrow and do the right things. And I think we've got the right group to do it. So how do you participate? 2 ways. You can become a node owner. Well, you can become a node owner and you can help other people become node owners. It's very simple. Like, it's not complicated. I thought I needed a computer science degree to understand this stuff, but you really don't. Again, I like simple stuff. So I'm going to show you the compensation plan. I'm going to keep it very simple for you. If you get started and you purchase a node, you're time stamped into the blockchain, okay? If you get me started and I buy a node, you're making 10%. If I get somebody started, I make 10%, you make a 5% confirmation reward. Here's very simply. If you help 5 people become a droid, and in that whole group, there's $10,000 in sales, you become a Blockbot. I won't get into it right now, but Blockbot is probably the #1 place that you want to be. Why? Because you make more money, obviously, and you get all kinds of perks, all kinds of things happen. You know, maybe I'll have Steven talk about that a little bit more. But if you get 5 Blockbots, you become a Blockbot 5. Help 5 people become a Blockbot 5, you become a Blockbot 10, a Blockbot 10, Blockbot 20. So it goes from 10% to, I believe it's 29% of earning. So here's what I hope you learned. How blockchain technology is helping to solve some of the biggest problems in the world. And I want to make this very clear. We've got like 11 projects. We'll probably have dozens and dozens and dozens of other projects come down the pike. And hopefully you understand how you can participate in these solutions and how you can be rewarded for your participation. So basically, you can set up a free account. Hopefully the person that got you this, they've been in a little bit. We've got some promotions going on right now. Maybe they'll give you some free crypto that their node has mined. Complete the compliance training because you want to be compliant. You don't want to mess anything up. I've gone through it a couple times. You want to explore your favorite projects, figure out what floats your boat, what you like. You can purchase your win node. You can go sell 5 win nodes and earn a free win node. Honestly, I don't have too many people do that, but you can do that. Just takes a little bit longer, the process. And then you're on your way to creating a massive community. I like this part because it's not just about sales. It's not about that. It's building a community like-minded people. I know it sounds corny, but that is what we do. I'm definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. I love the people that are part of this. And the more that you get to know them, the more you'll understand what I mean. So I'm going to bring up somebody that I got to know in Kauai about 5 months ago. His name's Stephen Miller. Everybody calls him Miller. I'm like, is that his? I remember when I first met him. Is that his first name or his last name? I think there's so many Stevens that they just go by Miller. But he has talked around the world about crypto. We call him the OG. Like, he's the guy that knows pretty much everything about everything. I call him, ask him a question, he's got the answer. I was eavesdropping, Miller, when you were talking to my wife the other day, and you are just a good dude. You really are. He's a family man. He's deep into his faith, and I think he'll tell you about it. But his sons just came back from a 2-year mission trip. I don't know what that's like to be away. Sometimes I think maybe my wife wants me to go on a mission trip and get out of here for a couple years and serve and then come back, and I'll miss her even more. But he's lived on crypto. Let me get this right. For the last 6 years. That blows me away that somebody has lived on cryptocurrency for the last 6 years, and he's spoken around the world. And he's not just married with a couple kids. He's got like a baseball team, almost. He's got 7 kids and living on crypto. And I know kids aren't cheap, but anyway, so Stephen, I'm gonna turn it over to you. And I just want you to tell your story. I want to hear about all your stuff, all that you've done, all that you're doing. So I think I stopped sharing. And
Yeah, it looks like you stopped sharing.
Okay, perfect. Stephen,
Awesome.
you got the floor.
Thank you so much, Danny. I really appreciate that. You and Lori are just amazing people, and welcome everyone who's here on the call. This is the right place to be. I don't look past the fact that you are donating, spending, or I'd probably rather say investing your time right now. And I think that you're investing your time in the very wisest way that you possibly can. What we are doing right now in the blockchain space is unprecedented. It has never been done before. Blockchain technology has only been around for about 15, 16 years now. With the inception of Bitcoin back in 2009 was kind of the first really public view of what blockchain technology was and what it can do. And here we are, many years later, but still sort of at the infancy of what it can do. Well, let me go back. My background is in real estate, personal development, and growth. That was kind of my background for many, many years. I actually built and operated a real estate investment company with some friends of mine. We helped a lot of people purchase really great investment grade real estate. These were single family homes in some of the best markets in the nation here in the US. And I know that this is a global call. We've got people from all over the world here. But literally we were helping people buy homes in Phoenix and Vegas and Orlando. This was right after the market crash in 2008. So we got in there, jumped in and just helped people do some really cool things in real estate. We did over 5,000 homes with people all over the nation, helping them buy just great real estate. But the hard thing about that for me was I would go all over the nation talking about real estate and helping people to do real estate and providing a whole system where it was done for them. Like, it was really, really great. But I knew that no matter where I went, I was only talking to 1, maybe 2% of the room, because you had to have good income, great assets, really good credit to do investment grade real estate. About 7.5 years ago, I was introduced. Well, let's see, it was about, sorry, 6.5, almost 7 years ago. I was introduced to the blockchain space, cryptocurrency. I met an individual who was the number one Bitcoin miner in North America through a friend of mine. And the first thing that he said to me when I met him was, "Hey, do you have a crypto wallet? And do you have any crypto?" And I said, "No, I don't have either." He said, "Okay." He sent me a link to set up a crypto wallet. I did that. He then said, "Give me your wallet address." I gave it to him. He then proceeded to give me some crypto. And that was my first entry point into this whole world about 6.5, almost 7 years ago now. And I tell you right now, that completely changed my world. From that moment, I was like drinking from a fire hose. I absorbed everything that I possibly could. I was probably the annoying new kid on the block who wouldn't leave and was constantly asking questions and trying to learn everything that I possibly could learn because I felt like this was not only real, but it was the next big technological evolution or revolution. And so as I kind of stepped into that space and started learning as much as I could, I decided I needed to have my own personal experience outside of getting crypto from somebody. I needed to figure out what I could do to really jump into the space and to make it more meaningful for me and my family. Now, um, I come from very very poor circumstances. I know that a lot of people have experienced a lot of life. If you're on here, you're probably looking for something better, which I commend you for being here and doing the work. um, I was in a very similar spot, even 6.5, 7 years ago. It's funny, entrepreneurship. The guys that are creating the systems are oftentimes the guys that are getting paid last. And so, although we were helping a lot of people do a lot of great real estate, I wasn't necessarily earning a ton. And I remember when I first was introduced here to the blockchain, I had like 50 grand to my name, and that's about it. And I remember talking to my wife and having a really real conversation. And I said, "Sweetheart, we've got 50 grand. 25 of it was supposed to be for taxes that we owed the IRS, all that kind of fun jazz." And we had a conversation and talking about what we were kind of just getting into and learning about with the blockchain. We said, "Okay, this is an opportunity that if we went all in, if we played all out, it could mean some really big things. And if we did that and it went south, well, we maybe we lost 50 grand, right? And we start over, whatever." And so we both agreed. We took that $50,000, we put everything that we had into Bitcoin. Now, this was when Bitcoin this was when Bitcoin was $3,700, right? So just to put that into perspective, for those of you that don't know, today Bitcoin, I'll actually look it up on my phone right now. I've got a little app on my phone. Let me open it up. Today, Bitcoin is $62,269.94. Right. So right now, that is the current price of Bitcoin. I got in at 3,700. Today it's 62,269. So that having that happen to me, and that was like my first experience in the crypto world, was amazing. Watching that grow, and I've seen it drop and I've seen it grow again, right? I've seen the cycles and I understand things maybe a little bit better than some people do now just because I've lived it, and that's all. But that experience was awesome, and it catapulted me to want to do even more. So I kind of I stuck around. I joined this little group of misfits that were amazing, and we're building out like unbelievable blockchain technology, trying to solve some really serious and really big world problems with a technology that very few people really understand. And I kind of jumped in there both feet. You mentioned Gala earlier a little bit. Yeah, we as we were still building out kind of some of the foundational technology, which included a node technology, a wallet technology, and a distribution platform. As we were kind of building that out, these guys that had worked with Zynga, right? Zynga was the company that had launched all these major games. I think you mentioned Words with Friends and Farmville 2 and Mafia Wars and a few of those others. They had built this platform to 400 million users. And that core group of people, they had just barely left Zynga after they helped Zynga do their IPO. Huge, it was like the biggest IPO in Silicon Valley history. They left Zynga then came over and were looking for a blockchain partner because they wanted to put gaming on the blockchain. They everyone that they talked to kept on pointing the finger to us, to our group, and saying these guys are the best guys in the blockchain. You need to talk to them. We ended up forming a partnership. We built Gala, and Danny kind of told the story. Gala was tremendous. It far surpassed anything that we thought would happen. It went from being the reward or the token being worth zero to going up to 83.6 cents, I think was the peak of that particular coin. And that was like a 500,000 plus percent growth, which, guys, I understand that sounds stupid. Like, that almost sounds too good to be true. It sounds ridiculous, but I promise you it's on the blockchain. You can go take a look at it. I can show you how to find that on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. History's real. And that's the neat thing about the blockchain is it's immutable. You can't go back and change what's happened. Like, I can't get in there and like change the data. Once it's on the blockchain, it's immutable and it's transparent, and you can't fraud it. So you can all look that up. Gala was real. It was an amazing project, and we all got to benefit from it that were participating. But I'll tell you, Gala, I believe, now this is just my belief, I believe that Gala will pale in comparison to what we're doing now. We've taken what we learned with Gala. Gala was honestly, it was kind of a test run. We had all these other thoughts and ideas and aspirations and even projects that we kind of had put on pause to then test out our technology on Gala. And it was like the most amazing test run that any of us thought, knew was even possible. And we now, because we own all of the IP, all of the technology that Gala was built on, we've now taken that and we're applying it to a number of different projects. And these projects are impact, purpose-driven projects. And look, I'm not going to apologize for it. I don't care if that sounds corny to you. It's real. What we are doing right now is working to change some really big problems in some major industries. Let's just point out a couple that Danny you talked about earlier, because I think it's important to kind of drill in just a little bit. You mentioned grow, right? The agricultural space, food, right? Just what we bring into our bodies. How many of you know exactly what you've eaten in the last 24 hours? Like, I mean, exactly. I don't mean like you can tell me, hey, I went to McDonald's, or I popped this TV dinner in, or what. I'm not saying that. Do you know the ingredients of what you actually put in your body? Do you know what 80% of those ingredients actually mean? So do we really know what we're ingesting, right? Most of us don't. Most of us are battling with health problems and cancers and all sorts of different things that's in our bodies because of the fuel that we're taking in. And the problem with like governmental control and FDA and all this kind of stuff is we don't really understand or know. And even if we did, we'd probably still do it because that's just what's available, right? We don't know what the other options are. Well, with the blockchain, we can change that. With Grow, you can actually know down to the quarter cup of food what your steak ate, right? Not to put it horrible, in a bad way necessarily, but you'll know what that animal ate before you ingest it. You'll know if those crops were sprayed with insecticides that are super harmful before you eat it, right? And obviously the goal is that you're not going to ever eat anything again that is sprayed or that has hormone injections or whatever. You'll know. And that kind of information, that transparent type of information, up until today has never really been available, but now it is through Grow. If you own and operate a Grow node, you can use your Grow rewards, your blockchain rewards from your Grow node to actually purchase food that is clean, that's from sustainable resources. Guys, this is amazing. And this is, like I said, never been done before. So utility, right? This is what we're bringing to the table. Grow is just one example. We've got Rev with a ride share where riders will pay less, drivers will earn more, and everyone who participates is going to earn a blockchain reward in the meantime. Like, I don't know about you, but when I go out and I travel, I use Lyft and Uber and everything else. And I typically don't care. I'm looking for what the cheapest and the fastest way is, right? That's usually what I'm looking for. And so if we can put a platform together, which we have and we are, where the riders pay less, the drivers earn more, everyone's going to be happier. There's no brand loyalty to any of these other brands out there. They just want something that's better. And if you can do that, and not only have something that's better, but also be an owner in that, own a node where you actually have voting rights, where you can actually help to grow and make it a better system, how many of you would do that? Like, I think, again, that's a redundant question. I think everybody would do that, right? There's no one that's going to say, no, I'd rather pay more and earn less. I just don't think that that's going to happen. So I love that. Rlink, same thing. I use video conferencing platforms and I have for the last like many, many, many years. And whether it's Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Google Meetups or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If I can now give people an opportunity to use a similar platform, pay less, have a better experience, and earn a digital reward while doing so, and be a part of the ownership of that foundational project, who wouldn't do it, right? So this is what we're talking about. And friends, I've just mentioned 3 of like 10, right? We have a project for everybody, whatever kind of speaks to you. We've got a health and wellness project, a banking project, a project that's in the industrial mining realm, a legal project, all these different things. And so I get so stinking passionate and excited about these projects. Um, Not because I want to rile you up. I'm not necessarily about the rah rah, or although I can give it to you all day long because I am just that excited about it. I am so enthusiastic about an opportunity where anybody can participate, where you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out and buy a real estate property. You literally, with wherever you are and whatever you can do something. You can get started. And everyone is, I think, looking for the magic pill, the silver bullet, right? Everyone's looking for some guaranteed something. And I'll tell you, Danny mentioned it earlier. This is a system that is all dependent on you and I. Those of us that are part of the community are the ones that are going to drive it forward, that are going to help increase adoption, that are going to help bring more and more utility to the table. I can't tell you how many people that are on this call and off of this call who have helped to bring new farms to the marketplace for grow, that are finding new drivers for the Revo rideshare, right? That are finding groups and organizations that want to utilize an R-Link type of system and helping to plug those in, that are looking for a better banking solution, that are saying, you know what, Switch can do that for me. It's you and I that are connecting those dots and linking arms together to make it happen. And I've never been a part of anything before in my life where I personally could have such an enormous and amazing impact. So again, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm absolutely looking to align myself with something that's real, that has a real technology behind it, that's looking to make real impact in the world, where I can also benefit from that impact. Let me just tell you a quick story, and this to me is the power of blockchain. I've got I've got 7 kids. We talked about that. My oldest is 21. My youngest is 10, almost 11. So we had basically seven kids in 10 years. No duplicates there. All with the same wife. She's amazing. Um, but but I'll tell you, several years ago, we got a new dog. And this dog, he's a German Shepherd, mostly a German Shepherd. He's kind of a German Shepherd mutt a little bit, but about 75% German Shepherd. He's like 95, almost 100 pounds now. But when we first got him, this dog, Milo is his name, he loved to chew on shoes. Okay, as a puppy, when he was just, 6 months to a year or so, he loved chewing on shoes. And I kid you not, I would come home from work almost every day for like a couple weeks, it felt like. And maybe I'm exaggerating, but this is what it seemed like. I would come home almost every day and a new pair of Nike shoes, because my kids all love Nikes, right? A new pair of Nike shoes had just been chewed up and destroyed. And your average Nike shoes are, they're not crazy, but you're looking at $150 to $200 a pair, maybe even $300 a pair, whatever. So let's just say they're $200 on average. Okay. So a couple weeks go by, and like 200, like probably 10 pairs or so of shoes had been chewed up and destroyed, roughly, right? I mean, again, maybe I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but it was something like that. And I'm like going insane. I'm going a little crazy. I'm like, why can't you kids control this dog, or put your shoes away, or do something? Now, enter for a second here blockchain, and how blockchain can solve a problem. Those 10 pairs of shoes, let's just say that was like $2,000 roughly, right? Imagine if I had taken $1,000 of that $2,000 And before this whole problem occurred, imagine if I had incentivized my children and said, look, every single time you put your shoes away, I'm going to give you $1. Every time. Imagine if I would have done that. Every time that you put your shoes away, if you take a picture of it and you give it to me and you show me that proof of action, I will pay you $1, right? If they would have done that, I would have, number one, probably never even spent the $1,000 I set aside. I would have definitely not paid the $2,000 that I would have had to pay to replace those shoes. My children would have learned a new skill, right? Or a new competency that would have blessed their lives. It would have blessed my sanity, and it would have saved my dog from being yelled at, right? I mean, all of these things are problems that blockchain, when done right, can solve. And that's just one simple, stupid example, but it was a very real example, right? Think about healthcare, think about banking and all the problems that we see and that we know. Think about rideshare and Zoom and all these other things. Think about social impact or social media. Friends, we're building a social impact platform that is going to wipe out what you currently know as social media and give control and power back to the individual. Give right now, Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. Actually, I have a question. I don't know if do we have the chat open or not. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. That's
No.
okay. That's okay. You know, I don't know if anyone knows how many daily users there are on Facebook, but let me tell you, there are 2 billion daily users on Facebook, people that go on there every day. And we all know that Facebook is stealing our information. Like, we all know that they're taking it and selling it to the highest bidders, and that's how they make their billions every year, is selling our data to all these advertisers, right? Now imagine, instead of being on a platform that is just social media, imagine you were part of a social impact platform. That's what Connect is, by the way. We are building the world's first social impact platform where those that are part of this are helping to make real change, taking real actions, utilizing a proof of action protocol where those actions are traced, tracked, and then rewarded, right? Where if you want to share your
Uh-oh, did we lose you? I think we might have lost him. Hang tight, guys, 1 second. 1 second. I think we lost Steven. But I think what he's saying is, imagine if we had, let me clarify, if you could get rewarded for sharing your information, if you could get rewarded for liking someone's picture, if you could get rewarded for all of the stuff that you do now that they're actually taking from you. So what I like about that is I want to be in control of my stuff. I should be benefiting from whatever happens in my Facebook, whatever it's called, whatever the social media platform is called. But I don't have to worry about somebody stealing my information. Oh, there you are. You're back on. Hold on 1 second. Let me let him finish that real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me grab Steven. Steven. Hold on 1 second. You're all at the bottom. Hold on, buddy. There you go.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
Oh, can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, gotcha.
Oh, awesome, appreciate it. Again, I apologize. I got home, put my computer on its dock, and forgot to plug it in, and so everything died on me. I'm back on my phone here, but anyway, so you know, just imagine though having that kind of control where if you wanted to share your information, if you wanted to share your data, you could, but you're the one now being rewarded for it. And not only are you being rewarded to share and do those, but you're going to be doing it for a different reason and a different purpose. Friends, this is what the blockchain allows. This is what it does. This is why I'm so excited about this. This is why I'm not just so excited about it, but I've also put my money where my mouth is. I own nodes. Right. This is the neat thing about what we're talking about is none of the brand presidents or other people or even OGs, we have no leg up on anybody else. We get to purchase nodes and run those nodes just like everybody else. As a matter of fact, I'm still consistently adding nodes to what I have, right? I go in and I can go into my shopping cart and do what everyone else does this exact same way and get nodes, operate those nodes. and then receive the benefit of that. And so it is just an amazing, amazing system. And I'll tell you guys, like I said before, I come from humble circumstances. I remember when I was about 7 years old, my father, took me for the very first time to learn the family trade, and I say that in air quotes, right? The family trade, which was dumpster diving. I learned that a lot of the food that we had put on our kitchen table was from grocery store dumpsters. That was kind of what I grew up with, and we weren't. I don't want to paint a false picture. We weren't completely destitute or anything. We just found food and froze what was good and threw away what was bad, kind of thing. Um, but as a young kid, I knew that there was something better. I knew that I wasn't the only one that was in that type of a situation. I knew that there were many, many other people that struggled financially, and I kind of went on a search. I remember when I was about 18 years old. I don't know if there's anyone like me on this call or not, but I remember when I was 18 years old, I read. I first of all the way up to my 18th birthday or so, I didn't like reading. I just didn't enjoy it. And I don't know why I didn't like it. Maybe my attention span was short. I don't know, whatever it was, but I just didn't like reading. When I was 18, I came across the book Think and Grow Rich for the very first time, Napoleon Hill. If you've never read it, I recommend it to anybody. It changed. I actually felt like this change. I read that book 2.5 times through nonstop. And I was not a reader. I'm just telling you, I didn't read. Um, I read it 2.5 times through, and it confirmed in my mind what I had already been thinking for a long, long time, which is there is opportunity out there. We just have to go find it. We have to go create it. We have to think differently. We have to be willing to do some of the hard things. Sometimes it means you know, taking some risk, some calculated risk, even when it's hard, even when everyone else is naysaying, and doing something that you feel is right. And then getting after it and making it the right decision, right? Not just making the decision, but getting after it afterwards and making it right. And I'll tell you, friends, that book kind of started me on a process of changing my life. This is, I see Danny, a ton of books behind you. Here's my books as well, and everything in the personal development realm and all sorts of different things. It has changed the way I operate. I see blockchain as another opportunity for everyone to change how we operate, to do things not just differently, but better. One of my favorite quotes of all time is different isn't always, sorry, gosh, I'm going to do this again, am I? um, hold on. Different isn't always Oh yeah, different always isn't always better, but better will always be different. Sorry, just flew out of my mind for a second there. Right? Different isn't always better, but better will always be different. And if we are willing to do some better things, it's going to mean that we're doing things a little bit differently. It's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. It's going to mean us getting outside of our comfort zone and being in that state of discomfort, being in a learning space or learning sphere for a while. But if we're willing to do that, I'm telling you right now, because I've felt it myself and I've experienced it, all of a sudden, that's where the growth happens. That's where you experience something different. All of a sudden, you realize that what you thought was completely different in a foreign language is actually not that crazy. It's actually where things are moving. I have a really good friend who works with Walmart, for example. He works in their transportation division, working with a lot of their supply chain. And we had a conversation just a little bit ago, and he said, "Stephen, I've just been tasked from Walmart corporate to figure out how to implement blockchain into what we're doing." And I said, well, that doesn't surprise me at all. Every Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company right now that is smart, a vast majority of them right now are figuring out or trying to figure out how they can implement blockchain into what they're doing. What we're doing here at Connect is we're paving the way. We're pioneering. We're doing that with real technology, with real products and services, and not only that, but with the proof of action protocol, allowing people like you and I to do things better and to be rewarded for those actions. And so, yeah, I am passionate about what we're doing here. This to me is like the best thing that I've ever participated in. It has blessed my family beyond measure. The home that I'm in right now, I was able to purchase with crypto. that I transferred into cash, obviously, but I was able to purchase this home outright, which was something I never knew or thought was possible until I jumped in this space and started learning everything that I possibly could. So look, I'm not telling anyone to throw their entire savings into crypto or into blockchain world, but I am inviting every one of you to get started at some level. Like do something. Just don't just sit on the sidelines wishing and hoping that your ticket will come. Actually jump in and do something, create the ticket and get in there and make it happen. And I'll tell you, there is never a better space that I've ever seen that makes that possible, that opportunity possible than what we have here in the Connect community. So, Danny,
Well,
thank you for having me on. Back to you, brother.
you got it. Miller, thank you very much. And guys, just get back to the person that invited you out here, and let them know that you want to get started. They'll help you with that. Maybe they'll help you set up a free wallet. Maybe they'll give you some free crypto so that you can get your feet wet. You can look at the projects, make a decision on which one that you want to get started with. So again, Miller, thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful evening. We'll talk soon. We do these every Tuesday night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Take care.